What up, folks? Welcome back to Ultrazilla Toys, and today I have a double review of the SH Monsterarts Godzilla 2001 and the NECA Godzilla 2001, otherwise known as N.E.C.A Godzilla, from the movie Godzilla, Mothra, King Ghidorah, All Out Monsters Attack. A great movie. It came out in 2001, a standalone flick in which Godzilla is pretty badass. He is about as mean as we've ever seen him, and he's evil. He's evil in that movie, and I dig it. You know, like, I dug it more when the movie came out, to tell you the truth. And nowadays, it's great, you know, for a bit. Like, I love it up till the Baragon scene, and after that, it's okay. I don't love Mothra. I don't love King Ghidorah in it, you know. I mean, they look interesting. King Ghidorah is interesting. Mothra's Mothra, you know. Kind of bored with Mothra. But we're not talking about the movie, are we? I guess I was. But we're talking about these two. And the reason why I'm doing them together is because they came out, you know, within a few months span of each other. Good enough where we're going to get, you know, comparisons. People have compared them, and, you know, like, some people love SH Monsterarts. Some people don't want to spend the money for SH Monsterarts. They would rather just wait for the NECA. So, and, you know, I can't blame either one. I have love for both of them. You know, I love a good articulated Godzilla, and these two fit the bill. So, let's look at them. I'm gonna just put this out there. You know, I understand, you know, the Monsterarts is a good 80, heck, even 90 bucks sometimes, in you know, in US stores, and the NECA was only like $18.99. So, you know what, that, I'm gonna say that right now, like, if you want to look at it that way, you know, that's cool, and you really can't compare the two. The only reason I'm even doing this is because I know that NECA, at least on their end, likes to compete with SH Monsterarts, so there's definitely something there when it comes to this line. So it's interesting to look at them together. It's the only time I think I'm gonna do this. But because it's really, it isn't fair, in my opinion, you know, to compare something that costs so much to something that costs so little. But as you can see here, I think they both look pretty good. And my general feeling, and you can stop the video right after this, is that they both are pretty good. You know, there's things about them to like on both ends. So whether you go one way or the other, or both, you know, I think you're gonna be happy. I think they both did a decent job. I'm an artist, so I am very much into artistic interpretations of stuff. I do not need film accuracy, and honestly, I didn't go back and look at this movie again. It's been a long time, and it might be a while again till I see it. It's kind of, I watch my Godzilla movies with my son, and he's kind of small for this one yet. It's kind of a little violent. So it's a side of Godzilla I don't want to show. But my son did say something that's very interesting. He said, "Crocodile Godzilla." Right? He's not wrong. That's what it looks like. So let's start here. Let's look at the NECA. I think this is really cool. I really do. I think they did a nice job here. Like, this head sculpt looks really interesting. It's different. I mean, the one thing you're gonna see right off the bat is, like, and it's pretty much in general for, like, NECA Godzillas, they're very on the green side of things, and while that's not really film accurate, you know, like, again, I don't mind it. Like, I kinda, there's like this part of me that kind of grew up thinking Godzilla was green, you know, as a kid. So, you know, you gotta remember, a lot of the NECAs are in Toys R Us. They do appeal to, like, kids like that a little bit, so I'm gonna let that slide, that greenish tint. I don't mind it, you know, like, I think if you went to, you know, people generally on the street, they're gonna say Godzilla is green. I'm not. I know he's charcoal gray. But I don't mind the look. It's definitely on the greenish side of things, as you can see. But I think that looks cool. It's a really nice looking deco, honestly, and there's a really nice, like, a light green wash on top of the more gray. I think that's cool. That's a different look. And it does give that, like my son said, that more crocodile-ish look to his head, you know, and throughout his whole body, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a pretty accurate description from a 2.5-year-old. So, again, let's look at this head sculpt. I think that's really nice looking. You know, like, it does the job. Like, his eyes are really a nice white, like a bright white. And they're painted pretty well, you know, as you can see on mine. Not bad. The mouth, like, the teeth look really good. The tongue looks good. The tongue does not move in the NECA. The jaw moves well. It's got a lot of, definitely a lot going on. Like, paint sloppiness over here coming down from the mouth, but you know, I've said it before. You've already heard me say it on the Shin Godzilla review. This is something on my Godzilla figures I don't really care about that much. Like, yeah, there's more red on the teeth here, but man, monsters fight. They get messed up. They bleed. They make others bleed. That's not a thing that I care about. You know, like, I'll point it out. There it is, if you care. If that's gonna bother you, you know, make it bother you, but it's not bothering me. So, but it's there to point out. Like, that to me is one of the paint things that don't bother me. Going down to his dorsal fins, and they're really white. I don't mind that. See, this is the stuff that bothers me more. See, when you have, like, paint chipping, like, on a, like, spot like this, I don't really care for that, you know, like, it just means the paint isn't applied well enough to, like, withstand anything, you know, like, it's, you can feel it, you know, like, you can feel it feels cheap, but, you know, that's not, it's, you always have to put in perspective that it's a $18.99 figure, you know, like, it's not going to be, you know, to the quality of an SH Monsterarts, which I'll laugh about because we just watched that the Shin Godzilla review where the paint was not great on that, and that was $126 figure, so there is that. Yeah, so that, you know, it is what it is. You know, it's not perfect. I do dig that they're white. It's definitely an interesting contrast. So I'm just going to turn them that way so you could kind of tell. So, I mean, for this figure, the more bright figure, I think it kind of works. I think it looks really good. You know, I mean, otherwise, you know, besides those little chips there. So, the rest of the body looks good. A little bit of a painting here. I don't know if that's a chip or if, like, errant paint. I'm not sure. It's very small, though. I can't really tell. I didn't even notice it till I saw, like, up close on my camera just now, to tell you the truth. But the rest of it is pretty well done. I kind of dig the nails, you know, like, on his hands and on his feet. Not bad at all. That's an interesting look with the gray and the, like, kind of like a brownish going through it. Like a pinkish brownish. I think that's cool, you know? I like the colors on this. It's kind of like a dragon almost, you know? That's not a bad look for Godzilla. You know, crocodile / dragon. Otherwise, you know, it's got that same deco all through. It looks good, you know, like, it really does. I don't have a problem with the deco at all on this. You know, I think that really works out pretty good. Alright, that's not so bad. Looking at the deco of the SH Monsterarts, his eyes are more pearlescent, you know, and instead of white. And has a really interesting look to it, as you can see. I really dig that. I feel like that's more screen accurate. Like, it did have kind of like a glow to it, if I remember correctly. And I might be, you know, misremembering, but I mean, personally, I think that's a really good look anyway. Regardless, it has like that ghostly look that, you know, N.E.C.A Godzilla spoiler is supposed to have. So I think that's a pretty cool look. His teeth are just like really gross, gnarly yellow. Done pretty well. Like, no real slop on mine, as you can see. His tongue looks good. in there. His mouth doesn't open that wide, so I can't really get in there too much. But his tongue does move. That's more of an articulation thing, but I want to get in there more to see the paint. Oh, okay, let's get in there more like this. So, paint in there. You can see on the inside of his teeth it's not so great to paint, but that's hard to do. That's a hard thing to paint. But yeah, like his tongue looks good. The inside of his mouth looks, wow, that's really well done. See this guy again? I didn't really look up there. It's alright. It's a little less detailed. That looks really cool. So let's pop this head back in here. Okay. The problem with many ball joints. On his head, like, we have some, like some sort of brownish paint up here. I don't know if you guys have that on yours, but it's interesting. There's some definitely going around his, you know, snout here. There's some light brownish mixed in. That's interesting. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not. It's not bad either way, but it's like, it's a little odd. It kind of looks like a mistake. I'm not sure. Otherwise, he's got the charcoal gray going on, you know, all throughout. There's some bit of like lighter wash. Yeah, there's a little more of that brown. It is a round. It's really light, but there's some sort of wash on this guy. That's kind of like a. You can see it. I think you can see it a little bit over here. It's kind of like a brownish, like I'm saying. Yeah, no, it's around. It's definitely there. That's interesting. That's an interesting choice. Again, not something I noticed till I had him, you know, in the lights and on my camera here. But it's definitely there. So there's an interesting thing. So there's some like little browns mixed in with the gray, various grays on this one. His dorsal fins are also gray, various shades of gray. And kind of bleed out into his body, which I think is a good way to do it. You know, it gets really heavy-handed up here, like very light and heavy-handed. And I kind of wish it wouldn't just stop right there. Like I kind of wish it just went up just a little more, just like fade out a little more. You know, at this price point, I feel like that's something that they should think about. I've had many times where that's happened with my Monsterarts, where I felt like it just cuts off at a weird spot, and it's, you know, like the Burning Godzilla. Burning Godzilla is like all white and then it's not, you know, like it shouldn't be like that. His tail's kind of sloppily done, if you can see. It's like if there's some paint, no paint, some paint, no paint, you know. So that's not a that's inconsistency that I really, you know, I don't care for. You know, that to me is, that's a little tough. You know, that to me is worse than like something that I could pass off for something else, because that's just like a weird thing. His feet are painted in like these grays as well. He's all gray, pretty much, you know, like very, very different from the NECA. So more Godzilla-ish, you know, proper Godzilla with the grays. The browns are an interesting thing, huh? You can see it really clearly there. Where'd that come from? What kind of look is that? That's interesting. So paint-wise, they're both kind of interesting, you know, like, and definitely I think both companies took some liberties there. So one thing I definitely want to look at is the way they stand, because this particular Godzilla stood in a very, you know, like distinctive way, and he's like very crouched, and you see that both of them try to go for it, and I definitely think the Monsterarts got it better. The way the neck curves down is like, it's here but it's not pronounced. I think Monsterarts nailed that look. I mean, as you can see, like he also, it's like, you know, he has like this like triangle, like pyramid shape to him, And that's just right, you know, like, he does as well, but he's a little more proportional. Like, he just doesn't feel like that, you know, like, his legs spread out more. So the design on here, I feel like, is definitely, you know, overall, more accurate to the film, you know, like, you can definitely see it here, you know. I think that's, yeah, if you're going for accuracy at all, like, that's, you know, definitely something that the Monsterarts does better. So, let's take a look at some articulation here. Now that we got, like, the look of the figure and the design and the paint out of the way. So, for the NECA, the head is on a ball joint. It moves alright. You know, like, side to side's a little hard, but he gets it, you know. His mouth his mouth actually opens pretty low, so that's pretty good. His neck has one joint. You know, it's pretty stiff on mine. His chest, you know, has like kind of like a wobbly joint inside. I'm guessing that's a ball, but it's hard to... feels a little odd. I'm not exactly sure. And definitely like... It's a little loose on mine, see? It's like... See the way it shakes? You can't really do much with it. You could get some good turning. Ah! So... lots of swivel here. Shout out to Jobby. So, arms come out pretty good. You know, on the shoulder, it's pretty solid. Elbows, I believe there's just one hinge there on both sides. Wrist swivel and a hinge. And here's where, for sure, NECA is awesome with their Godzillas, is they all have these awesome finger joints right here. You know, like, it's just the one joint, but, you know, being able to do that is so cool. You know, something the Monsterarts don't have, guys. You know, not bad. Hey, not bad for a $18.99 figure, right? So the thighs are really tight on mine, but, you know, it's got, I wouldn't say it's got great range of motion, but it works. Knees are tight, but they work. And the ankle can't really do much. Tail's got one joint, two joints, three joints. 1, 2, 3, 4 joints. And then the rest, I believe, is a bendy wire as usual. So, tail's kind of shorter on the NECA one as well, as you can see. Much shorter. So, the Monsterarts, obviously, this is where they shine, is articulation. But the jaw definitely does not, and his head popped off again. So that's one thing I'm definitely going to talk about in a second. His jaw does not open up that much. His tongue does move, but you can't get your fingers in there because the jaw does not open up that much. So that's kind of wasted. One other thing I want to talk about with the teeth. Monsterarts has much cooler fangs. Then, they're about the same. But they just feel sharper on the Monsterarts compared to the NECA because they are sharper because they're a harder plastic. But anywho, so the head is on a joint here, and then you got 1, 2, and you got that again. Yeah. So shoulders, you know, bicep, double jointed. Elbows, it's covered up really well as always, so awesome. Wrist has 2 joints in there, pretty good. The chest has a joint, but zero movement there on that ab crunch, even though you definitely get that usual split here that you do get, that people love. Love. I'm not a hater on the splits. How else are you going to do it? So he also has a waist swivel that doesn't move so much. So that's the thing, right? So this guy definitely has more joints already that we've seen compared to the NECA, but they don't really move. So yeah, you know, like, I mean, your mileage varies on that, but if you're gonna have joints and they can't move, then why have joints? You know? His joints are pretty tight or not so tight, but they do give you the motion you need, and it's more frustrating when you do have joints that you can't move. So that's my 2 cents on that, as far as, like, you know, having crazy articulation and what it could get you. Because what it could get you is a lot of pieces that tend to pop off, which Monsterarts are pretty much known for. Like, before I started this review, I could not find this little tail piece at the end. Yeah, I didn't even know it was missing. So luckily I found it. Legs have a lot of cool joints. And so there you go, cool joints. Because we are, like, amazed by all the joints. That's what makes Monsterarts, you know? Like, it's great for posing, you know? Like, I'll tell you this, right here. Stop what I'm saying. Monsterarts are awesome display pieces. You could get them in any pose you want. They're great for collectors. They're not great to play with. I hate to say it, but a lot of articulation doesn't mean it's great to play with. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not... They don't really go hand in hand or finger in finger there. You know, like, this dude, you could play with him. You could do whatever you want with him. I don't think he's breaking. You know, like, he's tough. This guy is not tough. So while this is awesome, I absolutely love this figure. Like, you can't understand. And maybe it's not coming across here, because, but I really love this guy. What? Sorry. Back to articulation. Knee is, you know, has, like, double jointed knees, and again, like the elbows. This is something that Monsterarts does awesome. It's covered. It covers itself up well. You don't see that much gappage anywhere. And his, you know, like, ankle has a little, oh, there's 2 joints here. There's actually 2 joints here at the calf and at the foot. So not bad, not bad at all. Really good, actually. Tail has tons of joints. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, and I just launched the rest of it. 12, 13, 14, 15, or 16. I think I lost count. It's 15 or 16 joints in the tail. That's insane. And that's cool, but again, you know, like, I am not afraid of my kid playing with this one for multiple reasons, because it's soft in places, and this is hard, and this one will definitely break, or just at least you're going to lose a bunch of parts. So that's the articulation on both. Obviously, the Monsterarts has a lot more. You know, that's really what you're paying for right now. You're paying for the articulation. So if you're an articulation nut, if you're more of an accuracy nut, definitely, you know, it's worth spending the money on this. I did mention something that I haven't mentioned at all yet before, but that's the way the figure feels. They're very different plastics. You know, if you've held any of these figures before, you know what I'm talking about. I don't know exactly what plastics are used, PVC, ABS, whatever. But these are, you know, like over here, like his dorsal fins are like very soft plastic. You know, soft plastic throughout. I have like a loose one over here, which is all attached, which just means the glue, I think, is a little loose on the bottom of mine in there. That might be an issue down the line, you know, but we'll see. But this is kind of like a hardish plastic, but it's, you know, it's very solid. It's a very solid plastic. This is that usual Monsterarts, you know, like, I believe it's ABS plastics. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that. But it's if you held any of these, again, it's the same plastic they've used throughout. This is the same plastic as, say, their 54, which I think these guys are a little different than the ones previous. There's something about them that feel differently than some of their older ones. This is very hard plastic. You know, I love the way these look, by the way. It's all like jagged and in weird shapes. It's so cool. Not something that NECA even went for at all. So I think this adds a lot to the overall look of this. That's really nice. So I honestly, I like them both. They're both really great figures. You know, like, I don't have any problems, really. Very slight, you know. Again, you're paying for different things at this point. More playability, you know, like just a different aesthetic. But definitely a good GMK for $18.99, I'd say. You know, like, even if it was more expensive, like, you know, some of their other lines are more expensive than their Godzilla line, and I guess that's because they're, like, you're not paying for more accessories, but you're getting more figure by mass, so they could actually charge more for their figures, and they don't. But don't listen to me, NECA. Keep charging what you're charging. I wonder how much their Shin Godzilla is going to cost. That should be interesting, because that should be a bigger figure, right? This figure is kind of pricey at, like, you know, the price point it's going for. But, you know, I got mine at Muteki sales, so feel free to check out mutekisales.com to see, you know, inquire about the availability of this guy. And I picked this one up at on TRU's website, you know, so put in an order as soon as it dropped. They're both pretty cool, you know. They definitely give off that GMK look. Both of them do. So I think you know, I think you're gonna be happy with either one of them. You know, like this one's more reptilian for sure. More crocodile, like my son said. This one's not. This one's more like, this is more Godzilla. But they're both Godzilla to me. They're both GMK Godzilla, just you know, different versions. There's no problem with that, right? There's room for both, you know? Look, I'll say this. If you could only pick up the GMK because of price, the NECA because of price, you'll be happy. I think it's a nice figure. It's a fun figure to play with. If you have the means to pick up the bigger, well, not bigger, but the pricier, more detailed figure, and detail as far as articulation, because I think, you know, design-wise, this has a ton of detail as well. You know, they don't skimp on their sculpts, NECA, for sure. They have great sculpts. Did I talk about their sculpts? Because I've kind of sprinkled it in throughout. Their sculpts are really great, and I think it's a nice one as well. You get a lot of details in that one. This one you get a lot of details as well, more film accurate, I'd say. So, but if you get these, right, if you're able to buy SH Monsterarts, I think you should totally support NECA's line as well, you know, because if you can afford this one, obviously you could get this one as well, and you're not going to, like, hate it, unless you're a total hater of domestic figures. And if you're a total hater of domestic figures, I can't really say anything about that. It is what it is, you know. You know, a lot of us import, you know, figure collectors, you know, we're so used to the quality you get on the import figures, but you know what? I love my domestic figures as well. I love going into TRU or Target or Walmart, or, well, for me, I can't go into Target or Walmart so easily. They're not near me. But I could go into TRU very easily. You know, I like grabbing a domestic figure. You know, like, there's something immediate about it. I love, you know, it just brings me back to when I'm a kid. I love Transformers, you know, I do like some Marvel Legends, some Star Wars Black Series, and, you know, I do like some NECAs, so, and, you know, various other lines, you know, like, so I have room in my heart for all figures. Okay, so, one last thing to compare on the two, and that is, who will stomp Paragon the best? Alright, so let's go with the NECA here. Let's get him What can we get here? We got some tape. There we go. My Revoltech Baragon here has seen better days. He had a shelf dive a while back, and his ear is a little wobbly. But come on, dude, you're not gonna stand. There we go. There we go. All right, so let's see. Best scene in the movie. Ugh. That's a pretty good foot to stomp on, guys. That NECA has really good foot. Here's a Monsterarts. A good stomping. You could just hear poor little Baragon screaming there. Had to do it. Had to do it. They both stomping pretty good. It just makes me like want to look at one last thing. There's so many things to look at. Feet comparison. You know, just how they just stomped on them. The sculpt goes throughout on the Monsterarts. You do have like the writing on the bottom. Over here you have it in a little box. You do have a hole over here. I'm not sure what these holes are for. You know, I don't think their stands come like that at all. But I guess you can put it in a stand if you needed to. But both of them stand pretty good. He's got like really fat feet. Design-wise, his are a little more proportionate to his leg. You know, the NECA really stands out as big, fat feet. So that was one last thing, and I thank poor little Revolta Baragon here. This is a nice little figure for helping me out. This whole line is nice. Aside, final thoughts. I pretty much said it. They're both pretty good. You know, I like them a lot. It'll be interesting to see, like, where these guys will rank in my 2016 rankings, which I will have soon. Not rankings, because who am I to rank every figure came out? I did buy a lot of figures this year, so I'm gonna have a lot to choose from. But I will have a 2016 best of, and I feel like this guy's gonna be really high on it. I absolutely adore this movie design, and I think of the two figures, this one definitely achieves the look better. So final thoughts are, this guy's gonna be for sure represented in my top 2016 picks, and he's gonna be pretty high. I gotta look at him and Shin Godzilla, like, to see which one I like better of the two, but I like them both a lot. You know, I think they're really awesome. Something, you know, we looked at the feet. Man, I'm all over the place here. But, like, you know, I just want to, like, stop my little last words here to look at his hands again, because I didn't really look at his hands too well. The gray on them kind of blends up, so it's not really like nails there. It's just kind of a blending thing, where the NECA is kind of more naily. That's something to think about, you know. The feet have more pronounced stoppage than the nails do. It just kind of radiates up. That doesn't bother me either, though. Overall, I really love this figure. You know, he does fall apart a little bit here and there, but that's, you know, how you feel about that is up to you, because I don't play with my figures too much. I have them to display, and, you know, like, on my shelf. This just looks incredible. This looks good too, you know, like, this is a good action figure. This is a great display piece, and that's how I'm gonna end it. Great display piece, better action figure, I think, because of the playability. He just plays better because he's more sturdy, and I don't worry about playing with this figure. I don't worry about giving this figure to my kid. But as a collector, I'm definitely still into the SH Monsterarts more, and I think it's a nicer looking piece overall. So both of them stomped this guy pretty good, but I think they're both good. They both have a lot of merit. You're gonna be happy, I think, with both figures, because they both do different things, and they both look a little different, and you can have them both because they are so different. And that's the great thing about these things. It's like the variety of it, just to have like different reps. This is a great age in action figure collecting, guys, when we can have two representations in like fully articulated figures of the GMK Godzilla. That's so cool. So that's all I got, guys. Please take a look at my Facebook page, Ultrazilla Toys. I will have pics up of these guys very soon, and I will. I don't know if they're going to be together, the pics, or I'll have two separate posts, but definitely look at that. Please give a like, comment, or subscription to my channel here, to this video here. I would greatly appreciate that. I am very good at answering all comments, so please, let's engage, let's talk. Let me know your feelings on these two figures, and my thoughts on them. So thank you for listening, thank you for watching. Till next time, peace out, people.